students, today's agenda is to check your homework. And today we'll be finding the vertex. And you will be able to work on 11.3. So today's lesson will relate a lot to yesterday's lesson. And so students will be able to find the vertex and graph the parabola given the intercepts. And the reason for which you're given the intercepts is because you were able to, you learned to find that in the previous lesson. Yesterday we had this equation. Whoops. And you already found that the Y-intercept, let me write that information, that the Y-intercept is at 0, -3. And remember that when we have this type of equation, your Y-intercept will always be 0 and the constant number in there, okay? Your X-intercepts for this equation, and you can go ahead and look back at your notes from yesterday, the intercepts are 0, 1, 1, 0, and -3, 0. And today, you will find the vertex. And there are 2 steps to finding the vertex. And I'm just going to put here, the first step is use the formula x equals -b/2a to find, and notice how I put this as a order pair, just like in here. To find x, you will use this formula. From the equation, x is equals to -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So it's the beginning and the last part of the equation. X is equals to -b all over 2a. Okay? And that's how you're going to find the x value of the order pair for the vertex. For the y, you will substitute that answer that you find into this equation. Okay, so you will find x in here and you will substitute. That's the second step. Substitute the answer of x into quadratic equation to find the y value. Okay, hope you can see that. Otherwise, I'm just going to repeat it. The first step is to find x by applying this formula. X equals -b/2 times a. That will give me a value for the x coordinate. Then that answer that I find, I will substitute in x in here and here, and simplify that or evaluate it to get the value of y. Okay, and that will give me my point for the vertex. So let's apply it. So for this first example, to find x, I'm going to have -b/2a, right? Which is negative, and my b is 2 over 2 times a. My a is 1. And so I just copy the -2 and multiply this. 2 times 1 is 2. And -2 divided by 2 is -1. So I already have, for my vertex, I already have my value of x, which is -1. Now I'm going to find the y by substituting the answer in my quadratic equation. And so I start that the second step is y equals, instead of writing x squared, I'm going to write -1 squared because this is the value of x. Okay? -1 squared plus 2 times -1 minus 3 from here. Okay, so all I did was to substitute the value that I found for x. I substitute this answer in here, in my x's. And so the answer will be Negative 1 squared is 1. Positive 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And negative 3. Oops. Okay, so 1 minus 2 is negative 1 minus 3 is equals to negative 4. And so that's my value of y. I can create my sketch since I already have information given to me yesterday. My y-intercept, I'm going to write the y-intercept, I'm going to put it in pink. So my y-intercept is at 0, negative 3. So let's say that goes about here. My x-intercepts are at 1, 0, and negative 3, 0. So I'm gonna put 1 and then negative 3 about here. And then my vertex, which I just found and I learned to find it barely today, it's gonna be at negative 1, negative 4. Okay, negative 1, negative 4, and it's right there. I also told you before, well, I can say that my parabola opens here on both directions, but then there is one other point that I can figure out from this information, and that will be this point right here should be at the same distance as this one right here. Whoops. And that will even make it better. See? So why? Because we know that parabolas are symmetrical, and therefore each point have to be equidistant from that line of symmetry. So what if I have y equals x squared minus 49? From yesterday, we already know that the y-intercept is at 0, negative 49, and the x-intercepts are at negative 70, positive 70. Now we need to find the vertex. And I want to remind you that in here, the a goes always with the x squared, the b goes with the x, and we don't have any in here, and the c is the constant number. Okay, so we don't have b in here. So what are the steps to finding the vertex? Let me write this on a post-it so I can have it in front of me and for you available. So the first step, find x with x equals negative b over 2a. And the second step is to replace the answer of step 1 in the equation to find y. So first we're going to find x. And how do I find x? With that equation. So x is equals to negative b, but we don't have b, so it's 0, over 2 times a, which is, remember, if there is no coefficient, it means that there is a 1. And minus 0 is 0. Remember that 0 is a neutral number, it's not positive or negative. And 2 times 1 is 2. And 0 divided by any number, the answer will be 0. Okay, so I have my x already. The second step is to replace the answer in the equation, in the quadratic equation, to find y. Y equals, I replace my value of x in here, so it's going to be 0 squared minus 49, and 0 squared is 0 minus 49 is equals to negative 49. So my answer for y is equals to negative 49. So I have my y-intercept from yesterday, my x-intercepts, and my vertex. I'm ready to sketch. What do you notice about the vertex and the y-intercept? Yep, they're the same. And we're not going to be able to do -1, -2, -3, because otherwise it will be a long graph. It's just a sketch, so just calculate a little longer than the 7. So your vertex will be here. Your y-intercept will also be there. And your x-intercepts are at 7 and -7. Okay, so that will be the sketch, +7 and -7. And so your parabola basically opens in here. Okay, and as you can see, it's perfectly symmetrical. Okay, they're supposed to be the same distance. Sorry about that. Maybe about here. Okay. Again, you're gonna run into the bell. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so from yesterday, if you remember, your y-intercept is at 0.8, but then for the x-intercepts, you had an imaginary number, and it means in the answer, and it means that they will not intersect with the x-axis. Also, I told you that we knew that the y-intercept was at 8, but we didn't know if the parabola will be around here or if it would be around here, meaning that it shifts either to the left or to the right. We're not yet. Today, with the vertex, we will be able to figure that out. So how do you find the x? By using this formula. So x is equals to -b over 2a, which is, so I'm sorry. So I replaced -b, -4 divided by 2a, and it's -4 divided by 2, so it's -2. Now to find y, I'm going to replace the x's, and it's going to be -2 square, -2 square plus 4 times -2 plus 8. And so this is going to be equals to -2 times -2 is 4. +4 times -2 is -8 plus 8. Remember that opposites cancel each other, and so my y is equals to 4. So now I can know that my vertex is going to go -2, +4, and so my actual parabola for this equation is going to go something like this. Okay, it's going to shift to the left. One other point that I can find is symmetric point, which is around here. And so this is my actual parabola. Yesterday we had a question mark because we were not sure if it was going to be this or this. But remember, when there is, for the x-intercepts, there is an imaginary number, it does not cross the x-axis. Okay, so today you were able to find the vertex. First, find the x by using this equation. The answer that you get in here, you replace in the original quadratic equation, and that will give you the answer for the y coordinate. So now you can find your vertex. Okay, so I hope you can do now 11.3, and thank you.